You don't lack energy in the morning, you're just doing things in the wrong order. What you choose to do in the first 30 minutes after waking up doesn't just shape your schedule, it sets the tone for your entire inner state. Your clarity. Your calm. Your command. Most men don't start their mornings. They survive them. Pulled into noise before they've anchored their own breath. Reacting before choosing. Consuming before becoming. Don't let your day be stolen by unconscious habits. Before the world touches you, reach inward. Before you meet demands, meet yourself. Before your feet hit the ground, know who's walking. Start with you. First. Always. If you're ready to reclaim your mornings. To rise with rhythm instead of rushing. To move from distraction to discipline. This is where you begin. Reset your mornings. Reclaim your energy. And return to the man you were meant to be, before the world told you otherwise. 1. Don't let the world touch you before you touch yourself. Pause for just 1 second. Before your hand reaches for that phone. Before you let the world sneak into your mind with a flood of texts, emails, notifications, and noise, ask yourself, who's in control of your mind right now? Is it you? Or is it the world? Every morning, you stand at an invisible crossroads. On one side is your old habit, grabbing the phone like it's a reflex, like a silent addiction you never questioned. On the other side is a choice, to touch silence first, to return inward, to begin your day as a man with intention. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and Stoic, once wrote in Meditations, do not allow your mind to be hijacked by the external world before it has been cleansed from within. Imagine waking up not because of an alarm, a ping, or a deadline, but because you chose to rise. You breathe deeply. You sit upright. You're fully present. Not for anyone else. Not for the world. But for you. That isn't just alertness. That is power. What you do in the first 5 minutes after waking up is more than a habit. It is a declaration to your subconscious. I am in control. I take the first step. The world does not dictate how I begin my day. So next time your hand instinctively reaches for your phone, remember. Every swipe is a surrender of control. Every scroll is a detour away from clarity. Every notification you open is a stolen moment of silence. You want more energy in the morning? Don't start your day by absorbing chaos. You want clarity? Don't invite the noise of the world before you've spoken to yourself. Do something different tomorrow. Wake up without grabbing your phone. Sit up, breathe deeply. Observe the light, the stillness. Say to yourself, I choose how today begins. That's when you begin to build inner discipline, the unshakable foundation for everything that follows. The world is always pulling at you. But men of purpose, men who live by Stoic principles, they don't chase the world. They begin from within. They treat morning silence as armor. And from there, they rise, ready to face battle. If you've made it this far, then there's already a leader waking up inside you. Subscribe to this channel to feed that fire every morning. Don't start your day being pulled by the world. Start your day by leading it. Touch yourself first, before the world lays a finger on you. 2. Drink water before coffee, restore before you stimulate. Because true strength starts with structure, not sensation. You've taken the first step. You woke up not as a victim of the world, but as the author of your own morning. You chose silence before stimulation. You chose to return inward before reaching outward. But the journey doesn't stop there. Now ask yourself, what's the first thing you give to your body when it finally rises from rest? For most men, the answer is quick and predictable: caffeine. It's a habit, a ritual, almost a modern sacrament. But here's a hard truth: your body doesn't need caffeine first thing in the morning. It needs water. It needs recovery, not stimulation. It needs respect, not reaction. Epictetus, the ancient Stoic teacher, wrote, First, do what is necessary. Then, do what is pleasant. We have flipped this wisdom upside down. We chase comfort before care. We stimulate before we restore. And then we wonder why we're anxious, dehydrated, tired, or unfocused. Let's break the cycle. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is dehydrated, not from stress or work, but from life itself. Every breath you took while sleeping, every moment of dreaming, healing, repairing, drew from your inner reserves. Your first responsibility when you wake is to return what was taken. That begins with one tall glass of cold, clean water. Nothing fancy. Just structure. Just honor. Because when you reach for coffee before water, here's what you're saying to your body. I care more about performance than preparation. I'll demand more from you before I replenish you. I will rush to feel awake instead of truly being well. That's not leadership. That's short-term thinking, a war general sending exhausted troops into battle without armor, without fuel, without care. You want more energy? You want calm confidence without the crash? You want your mind sharp, not shaky? Then begin by giving your body what it actually needs. Water is not weakness. Water is wisdom. It doesn't come with a buzz or a dopamine spike. It comes with balance. And balance, in the Stoic mindset, is what power truly looks like. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the caffeine, before the thrill, make a simple, strong decision. Pour water. Drink slowly. Let it wake you with dignity. That single act is more than hydration. It is self-respect. It is command. It is the ritual of a man who doesn't chase energy, he builds it. Don't treat your body like a machine you're trying to hack. Treat it like an ally you must protect. Let this be your new sequence. Silence. Presence. Water. Restore before you stimulate. Rebuild before you charge. Respect before demand. Because the man who honors his vessel is the man who endures the storm, while others are falling apart from within. Now, if you're still reading, if something inside you feels called to shift, then I invite you to take the next step. Each day, we're not just building a better morning. We're forging a stronger foundation, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Start with water. End with power. 3. Let there be light before there is sound. Because the nervous system doesn't respond to chaos, it responds to rhythm. You've silenced the noise. You've chosen water over caffeine. You've honored your body before demanding from it. But the world still waits outside. And it doesn't knock gently. It comes with alarms, breaking news, playlists, and podcast episodes, each one promising to wake you up, to fuel your grind, to start your day strong. But ask yourself, what is strong if it starts with noise, before your mind even remembers who you are? What is power, if the first voice you hear isn't your own? This is where most men fall into the trap. They trade stillness for stimulation. They mistake volume for vitality. They think being switched on means being sound blasted into motion. But Stoics knew better. They understood that nature wakes not with noise, but with light. The sun doesn't scream into the sky. It rises, slowly, gradually, with intention. And so should you. Your nervous system is not a switch. It is a symphony. When you expose it first to light, soft, steady, natural, you awaken it in harmony with how it was built to thrive. But when you flood it with music, screens, headlines, and notifications, you create a false rhythm, one that stimulates adrenaline before alignment. That's not awakening. That's agitation. Let light be your first signal. Open the blinds. Step outside. Let the sky say good morning to your skin. Let your eyes absorb the clarity of sunlight, not the blue light of a screen. Let your ears rest in the quiet, not be jolted by volume. Because presence isn't created through a playlist. It's crafted through patience. You want to lead yourself? Then learn to observe before you react. You want calm confidence? Then begin with rhythm, not rush. Your body already knows what to do. It's been following the sun for thousands of years. Let it return to that wisdom. Let it sink back with the rhythm nature intended. And what does that look like? It looks like this. You wake up. No music. No podcast. No noise. You rise, walk to the window. You breathe. You absorb light. You give yourself space to simply be, without being bombarded. From that place, your real energy begins. Not the kind that spikes and crashes, but the kind that builds, one steady breath at a time, one morning at a time. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said. Everything that's natural is never rushed, not the sun, not the seasons, not the soul. So do not rush your own rising. Light before sound. Rhythm before pressure. Peace before performance. This is how warriors prepare. This is how Stoics begin. This is how men of clarity meet the chaos, by choosing cadence over noise. You've already taken the first 2 steps. Now let light, pure and still, guide the next. And if you're beginning to feel the shift, that quiet confidence building in your mornings, then keep going. Subscribe to this channel. This isn't just a morning routine. This is the path back to command, to center, to truth. Start your morning in harmony. Let light lead. And silence, finally, will feel like strength, not emptiness. 4. Move before you consume information. Because your body was built for movement, not just mental digestion. You've reclaimed your mornings from the chaos. You've honored silence over screens. You've chosen light before noise. You've given your body the gift of water instead of adrenaline. But now comes the most subtle and most dangerous illusion of productivity. The belief that thinking is doing. In the modern world, we've confused mental consumption with meaningful momentum. We open a book, watch a video, scan an email, scroll a headline, and call it progress. But deep down, something feels off. Why? Because your body hasn't moved. Because your blood hasn't flowed. Because your spine is still curled in the same shape it held while you slept, protective, passive, withdrawn. And without movement, your mind is disconnected from its vessel. The Stoics didn't see the body as a sidekick to the mind. They saw it as the first foundation, the battlefield that must be readied before any philosophical war could be waged. Seneca, one of the wisest Stoics, put it plainly. A mind too busy with thought cannot thrive in a body that's been neglected. In other words, if you want clarity, you have to earn it physically first. And no, this doesn't mean a 60-minute workout or punishing discipline. It means you activate yourself before absorbing the world. Before you read. Before you learn. Before you absorb even a single line of wisdom. You move. A stretch. A full body reach. A slow walk through the room. 10 deep breaths with your arms raised toward the light. Not for performance. Not for points. But for presence. You are telling your nervous system, I'm here. I'm awake. I am not just a mind, I am a whole being. This is how warriors prepare. Not with information, but with embodiment. Your spine straightens. Your chest opens. Your breath deepens. You are no longer just a man waking up. You are a man who has entered the arena, quietly, deliberately, intentionally. And only from this should you even begin to read, to write, to plan, to think. Because a still body trying to process the weight of the world is like a sword left unsharpened, heavy and ineffective. When you move first, you reclaim power from paralysis. You connect mind and muscle. You send a message, I don't just think. I act. And that's the essence of Stoic practice. Wisdom is nothing if it isn't lived through the body. So here's your rhythm now. Wake in silence. Drink with awareness. Rise with the sun. Move before you mentally engage. This movement is not preparation for productivity. It is the productivity. It is you choosing your state, not waiting to be told how to feel, or what to do, or who to be. And if you do this, if you rise and move even before you open your first message, you will realize something. You've already won the first hour of the day. You've already done what most men skip. You've chosen to arrive in your body before arriving in the world. And from here, everything else becomes easier, because now you are in motion. 5. Breathe before you think. Because clarity does not come from thinking more, it comes from returning to the breath. You've started to move. Not to chase a number. Not to impress. But to reconnect, mind and muscle, breath and body. But now comes the turning point. Because the moment after movement is when your mind begins to open. Ideas emerge. Thoughts sharpen. The urge to act, plan, strategize begins to stir. And if you're like most men in the modern world, this is the moment you rush headfirst into the day. You start making decisions. You build to-do lists. You replay yesterday's battles or predict tomorrow's chaos. And without even realizing it, your inner world becomes louder than the outer one. But here's what the Stoics would say. Pause. Come back. Observe. Then choose. Because clarity does not come from more thinking. It comes from space. And there is no space more sacred, more powerful, than the space between breaths. The breath is the gatekeeper. Between impulse and intention. Between chaos and command. Between the man who reacts and the man who responds. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most powerful man of his time, never began his day with decisions. He began with reflection. With stillness. With his journal, yes, but even before the ink touched paper, there was a moment of quiet breath. The air of the morning is meant for stillness, not judgment, he wrote. What does that mean for you? It means, before you decide anything, breathe. Before you plan, observe. Before you assign value to any task, person, or fear, reclaim yourself through the breath. It doesn't take long. 5 minutes. No technology. No tools. Just you, your body, and your breath. Sit. Close your eyes. Inhale through the nose, slowly. Exhale even slower. Feel the breath leave the body like a weight being released. Let your nervous system register the message. I am not under attack. I am in control. Because without the breath, your mind becomes a battlefield, full of half-shaped thoughts and emotional landmines. But with the breath, you become a man anchored, not drifting. Still, not stagnant. Awake, not reactive. And that is the foundation of Stoic living, not suppressing emotion, but seeing it clearly through the lens of grounded awareness. Your breath is the first and final line of defense. It is your return to sovereignty. So here is your sequence now. You wake in silence. You hydrate with care. You rise with the sun. You move with presence. And you breathe before thought begins. From this space, you choose your first thoughts, instead of letting them choose you. From this space, you respond to life, instead of reacting to it. Because the man who breathes before he thinks is the man who thinks clearly. And clarity, in a chaotic world, is not a luxury, it is armor. No decision made in a hurried state will serve you long. No plan written in a stressed mind will sustain you. No life built on panic will stand the test of time. But when your breath becomes your anchor, your mind becomes your ally. And your mornings, no matter how the world moves, become your own. 6. Write what you feel before you write what you'll do. You've breathed. Not just to calm down, but to come back. To take ownership of the most sacred space you'll ever inhabit, your own mind. And now, as the stillness deepens, your instinct will tell you. It's time to move forward. It's time to plan, to organize, to structure your day. But wait, not yet. Because before you fill a page with tasks, you must first clear the fog from your heart. Before you decide what you'll do today, you must understand who you are this morning. Most men skip this part. They live like soldiers without soul, ticking boxes, crushing deadlines, counting wins, chasing hours. But under the surface, something remains unspoken, unprocessed, unknown. That unknown is what makes your plans crumble. That unspoken is what turns discipline into burnout. That unprocessed weight becomes the hidden friction behind your fatigue, your distraction, your confusion. So what do you do instead? You write. Not a list. Not a goal. But an honest, raw reflection of what lives inside you. This is what Marcus Aurelius did. He didn't write a to-do list each morning. He wrote to meet himself. When you rise in the morning, he reflected, take a moment to examine your thoughts, your fears, and your hopes. For the day will test them all. You must do the same. You must ask, what am I feeling right now? What am I resisting? What am I grateful for, even if nothing feels easy? Take a pen, a journal, a single piece of paper, and write 3 simple prompts. What do I feel right now, without judgment? What am I afraid of, and why? What do I appreciate, even in discomfort? That's it. 3 questions. 3 doors into the unconscious. 3 keys that unlock emotional weight before it hardens into mental noise. Because when your calendar is built on top of unspoken emotion, you are building a fortress on sand. But when your action rises from honest awareness, you become unshakable, no matter what the day brings. This is what the Stoics understood. Clarity is not found in planning. It is forged in reflection. A man who knows what he feels. A man who dares to name his fear. A man who practices gratitude before ambition. That man does not chase discipline, he embodies it. He does not need motivation, he operates from alignment. He does not depend on control, because he's already found command within. So here is the sequence now. You rise in silence. You hydrate with care. You greet the sun before the noise. You move before you learn. You breathe before you think. And now, you reflect before you plan. Not because planning is bad, but because you are not a machine. You are a man, layered, emotional, human. And when you start your day by seeing yourself, truly, deeply, then your plans no longer become burdens. They become expressions of your truth. Let the page carry what you no longer need to hold. Let the ink reveal what your mouth couldn't say. Let the honesty set the foundation upon which your entire day can stand. Because from here, when you finally write your plan, it will not come from pressure. It will come from peace. 7. Choose stillness before stimulation. You begun the day not as a machine, but as a man. You've sat with your thoughts, unfiltered. You've met yourself on the page. You've breathed with presence. You've moved with intent. You've aligned your inner compass before setting direction. And now, the temptation arrives again. Soft. Subtle. That voice in your head whispers, maybe just a quick podcast. A little music. Something to get in the zone. We live in a culture where silence is feared and stimulation is celebrated. We confuse momentum with noise. We mistake background music for inner fire. We believe productivity must sound like a playlist. But the Stoics knew better. They knew that if you fill your mind with borrowed voices too early, you lose touch with your own. Stillness isn't absence. Stillness is presence, purified. Real inspiration doesn't come from a song. It comes from the silence that survives after distraction fades. It comes from sitting with yourself long enough to hear your own wisdom speak. Remember what Epictetus taught. First, be silent. Then observe. Only then will your words and your actions have meaning. So what if you chose not to press play this morning? What if you chose not to hand over your mental landscape to the next curated playlist or thought leader? What if, instead, you sat just a few minutes longer in the clean air of your own being, unshaped by anyone else's rhythm? That silence would not be empty. It would be full of awareness, full of clarity, full of potential energy that hasn't yet been scattered. You would notice things. The tension in your jaw, the shallow pace of your breath, the gentle weight of your posture. You would feel you, raw, real, present. And only from that grounded state, only then would you be worthy of consuming outside influence. Because now, you are not clinging to inspiration, you are meeting it on equal ground. This is what power feels like. A man alone with his thoughts, not terrified by the silence, but made whole by it. And that silence? It is not passive. It is not weak. It is preparation. It is a forge, where your thoughts are tempered, where your spirit is sharpened, where your truth is heard before the world gets a chance to drown it out. So here is your rhythm now. You rise without noise. You hydrate with care. You greet light before sound. You move before you scroll. You breathe before you plan. You write what you feel before you chase what you want. And now, you sit in stillness before letting the world enter. Let this quiet become your edge. Let this pause become your power. Because in that stillness, you are not consuming, you are commanding. You are not reacting, you are reclaiming. And the man who is not afraid of silence is the man the world listens to when he finally speaks. 8. Cleanse before you armor. You've chosen silence before stimulation. You've written what you feel before deciding what you'll do. You've honored light over noise, breath over thought, motion over mental clutter. And now, it's time to step forward. To enter the day. To put on your armor. To face the demands, the noise, the conflict, the ambition, the world. But before you do, you must ask yourself a simple question. Have I prepared my vessel, or just my schedule? Because a clean calendar means nothing if your body still carries the residue of fatigue, if your skin hasn't shed the night, if your presence hasn't been renewed. The Stoics understood the sacred nature of physical preparation. The Roman legions didn't rush into battle with unwashed hands or careless armor. Every movement was ritual. Every action, intention. Even bathing, simple as it may seem, was not about hygiene alone. It was about honor, readiness, clarity, command. When you step into water, even for 1 minute, you are crossing a threshold. You are saying, "The night is behind me. I do not carry sleep into my battles. I cleanse the old and prepare for the new." And no, this doesn't mean plunging into an ice bath or punishing your body to prove toughness. It means using water as a rite of passage. Cool, clean, sharp. A wake-up that isn't jarring, but intentional. Let the water hit your skin not with force, but with purpose. Let it wash not just the sweat of sleep, but the fog of hesitation. Let it realign your posture. Let it refresh your state. Let it remind you, you are not a man sleepwalking into his day. You are a warrior entering the arena. And warriors don't stumble into the world. They enter with preparation, with stillness behind their eyes, with presence in their limbs, with clarity in their breath. And it begins, here, with this simple act of water on skin. This is not about grooming. This is not about image. This is about integrity. Because the man who cleanses before he dresses, who rinses off the weight of sleep before layering on responsibility, he doesn't just look awake. He is awake. So now your sequence continues. You rise. You hydrate. You breathe. You move. You reflect. You sit with silence. And now you cleanse. Not for vanity. Not for comfort. But for presence. Because the man who enters the day half washed, half present, half awake will be pulled by everything. But the man who stands clean, mind, body, breath, that man commands his space. Let this be your new ritual. 1 minute. Cool water. Clear intention. You step in as one man and step out as another. Because the world doesn't need more busy men. It needs more ready men. 9. Recite Stoic wisdom before you face the world. Because clarity is not spontaneous, it must be chosen, trained, and repeated. You've washed away the night. You've stepped from silence into movement, from breath into stillness, from planning into presence. You've honored your body. You've reset your inner state. And now, the door is about to open. The world is waiting. And it does not greet you with softness. It brings noise, conflict, friction, people who are rushed, bitter, careless. People who are not centered, not grounded, not sovereign. You already know this. You've seen it on the streets, in meetings, and conversations with people who react instead of respond. Who carry chaos like a second skin. And unless you choose otherwise, unless you build your mind before you step outside, you'll be pulled into their orbit. This is where the Stoics drew the line. They didn't just reflect, they armed themselves with mental frameworks. They didn't just hope for patience, they trained for it. They didn't trust the world to be kind, they trained their minds to remain calm when it wasn't. Marcus Aurelius began each day by reciting what he would likely encounter. Today, I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, envy, and selfishness. Yet none of these things can harm me, for I have seen their nature, and I am prepared. This wasn't cynicism. It was preparation. Not for war, but for peace. Not to attack, but to remain unshaken. And you must do the same. Pick your phrase. Not from a quote board, but from the part of you that knows what you struggle with. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's the fear of being misunderstood, challenged, or ignored. Now arm yourself. Not with ego. Not with defense. But with a guiding reminder, a compass for your character. Say it aloud. Whisper it if you must. But say it. Let it echo in your chest before the voices of others crowd your day. It might be, I will not react to what I cannot control. Or, I expect friction, and I welcome it as training. Or simply, nothing shakes me unless I permit it. Let it enter your nervous system. Let it shape your posture. Because when you walk into the world with an idea already planted, you are no longer guessing how to show up. You are deciding in advance. And that changes everything. Now the honking car, the passive-aggressive colleague, the inattentive stranger. None of them can shift your axis. Because you've already planted your roots. This is the final piece of your inner armor. Not noise. Not volume. But quiet conviction. So now your sequence becomes: you wake with silence. You hydrate in alignment. You greet the light. You move with presence. You breathe with control. You write with honesty. You remain in stillness. You cleanse your body. And you recite your values before entering the world. No longer reactive. No longer guessing. No longer pulled by moods, by people, by moments you didn't plan for. Because now, you walk into the world with your mind already set. And there is nothing more powerful than a man who has already chosen how he will respond, no matter what comes his way. Begin within and beyond. What you've just walked through is not a routine. It's not a checklist. It's not a productivity hack, or a motivational tactic, or a way to optimize your morning. It is a sequence of sovereignty. A reclaiming. A quiet rebellion against a world that profits from your distraction and disconnection. Because when you do what most refuse to do, when you start your day not by checking, scrolling, replying, consuming, but by returning inward, you become dangerous in the most powerful way. You are no longer governed by the noise. You are no longer reacting to other people's chaos. You are not a man waiting to be told who to be, how to feel, or what to fear. You are the one who decides. You are the one who begins. You are the one who builds the inner order before meeting the outer disorder. And here's the truth that few will say out loud. Every day is war. Not a war against others, but a war against your own tendencies to forget yourself, to hand away your focus, to abandon your rituals, to let the world speak louder than your soul. And so, you must train. Not once. Not when it's easy. Not when it's quiet. But every morning. You train in silence. You train in breath. You train in stillness. You train by remembering that nothing outside you has more authority than what you've built inside. So when the noise comes, you are unmoved. When the day demands, you are undisturbed. When the world shouts, you are not shaken. Because by the time they reach you, you have already arrived. You have already chosen your energy. You have already armed your mind. You have already anchored your spirit. And the man who does that is already free.